Akash and T, the real reflection of you. All right, so I'm on my way. This is Tribeca week, for those of you guys who don't know, in the New York, New Jersey area. And Tribeca Film Festival is ongoing. And so I'm on my way into the city right now for a little soiree of sorts with some of the filmmakers there. Very excited. It's also like just about the kickoff of summer. I mean, depends on who you ask. People are like, oh, summer already kicked off. Technically with Memorial Day weekend, that's the unofficial kickoff, but I don't know, it feels a little bit more real now, and I'm excited. You know, New York City in the summers is just, wow. So, anyways, very, very, joyous, very joyous to be attending and to be meeting some other filmmakers, actors, producers, musicians, you name it. Artists, truly artists. And, yeah, so that's that one. Also a little bit of a different view. I was like, you know what? I'm listening to music right now. I was listening to Kanye's new album. And at the same time, I figured, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the video when I'm in the city. There's a lot of traffic right now anyways. I kind of know where I'm going. So what better time to make a video? And the thing about making videos is that wherever you are, it always forces you to be to be your own cinematographer to some degree, right? So this is a cinematographic shot. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what felt right to me, you know? In other words, it was a choice. It's like, I'm gonna put the camera right here. Now, part of the reason why I put the camera right there is because, well, I don't have to hold it. But the other part of the reason is that I thought it would look cool. And that's one thing that I've learned from filmmaking is part of it's all about how do you make this look cool? And not just looking cool just for the sake of looking cool, though sometimes there is a little bit of that, but more so for, well, what is this trying to say? What is this perspective? What is this angle? How does it tell the story better? And that's what it's all about, is how do I tell the story better? Recently I've been watching Entourage with my little brother. And for those of you who've never watched Entourage, see? That's a whole part of the fact too, is if I make a quick stop or if I decide to change lanes. But for those of you who haven't watched Entourage, phenomenal TV show, highly, highly encourage it. But it follows the story of these four guys as they make their way in Hollywood in the later 2000s, early 2010s. And just talks about kind of like what's it like being an actor, manager, agent, and just navigating that whole world. I find it really cool because there's some parallels and similarities. Obviously I'm not in LA, but a lot of the things that the characters go through are, who doesn't go through them, So it's really cool and I relate to a lot that way. But the reason why I was talking about that in and of itself was, it's cool hearing stories about the industry in which you're in, and I love it. They kind of follow one character's like a more of a film star, the other one's more of an up-and-coming TV star, the other one's a manager, the other one's an agent, and the other one's kind of doing a little bit of it all. He helps as an assistant to like a chauffeur, but then also tries his hand at managing this, that, and the other thing. Anyways, I'm not here to tell the story of the thing, but what I am here to say is that it's stories and the way that you tell them that's so important. And so every day we have the opportunity to tell a story. Now, what's that story that we're telling? Well, that's up to us, right? Every moment of the day, in my mind, something's going on of this is what's going on, or that's what's going on, or I wish this happened, or I wish this didn't happen, or why did this person do this, or why didn't they do this, and whatever, right? And it just goes on and 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 on. So that's the story that every day we're working with. Now, I do my best to make sure that the story that I'm telling, that everyday story, is more pleasant. It's more entertaining. It's more educational. It's more informative. It's more wise. It's more enlightening. And adventurous, blends of all of those. Now, I'm not always perfect at it, and no human being is, right? If you were perfect at telling that story all the time, I'd be like, well, that after a while, that's going to be a pretty boring story. To me, the best parts of the story, believe it or not, are the parts of the story where it's like, ooh, what are you going to do there? Ooh, that just happened. How are you going to handle that? Some of the best parts in my life have been when something, to me, which seems cataclysmic at the time, occurred. And what was my response to that? Those moments, to me, are really what make the story engaging. Now, when I'm in the midst of those moments, I don't really see that. Oftentimes, I'll actually miss that and lose it, forget exactly what I'm saying right now to you guys, whomever out there may be watching. But it's in those moments, those particular moments, that's where I write the story of my own life, and I'm excited about that, on one hand, the part of me is like, oh, well, I hope I don't have any more of those moments, so I don't have to do this, that, or the other thing. And then on the other hand, another part of me is like, you better have more of those moments, because if you don't, I'm going to be bored as shit, I want to see what you're made of, Akash and T. You got an easy life. If you have an easy life, then it's boring, I don't want the easy life just for the sake of having an easy life. Now, that being said, I'm not going to just make a hard life just to have a hard life either, but life is hard in and of itself. I don't have to go out there searching for things that are hard to do just for the sake of searching for something hard to do. Living every day there's a little bit of a difficulty associated with that. Staying of sound mind and body, that can be difficult in society, figuring out how to make ends meet in legal ways, and staying out of trouble, all these things, they can be very difficult. So I say all that because, well, I'm grateful for those little moments that life might present difficulties to me. In this moment right now, I'm choosing that, I'm choosing that. You know what? I don't have control over what's going to happen to me in life, but what I do have control over is my attitude over what's going to happen. And I'm going to make sure that not only do I have a fantastic attitude, but I smile and I laugh, and maybe I cry, and maybe I get angry or experience the full range of emotions. But I do those things for myself. I don't do it out of reactivity, not knowing, or a lack of awareness. I choose to do them and to express them as I do. So this is to the beginning of the summer, to seeing where life takes us next, and to keeping up, thriving, and staying sexy. Until next time.